The Catalina Island cruise ship leaves the Long Beach harbor several times a day, filled with happy tourists headed for a mini vacation in what is known as the Island of Romance, just a short trip 27 miles across the sea. On this day, the cruise ship was transporting many of the top athletes in the world who would be competing on the toughest triathlon course of its kind anywhere. The Catalina Triathlon is the culmination of the Jeep Tri-America Triathlon Series, and it'll pit these top men and women athletes in the ultimate sprint triathlon challenge. Behind the Catalina cruise ship is one of the last sights they see before the island of Santa Catalina becomes the focus of attention. The massive luxury steamer, the Queen Mary, built in 1936, is one of the most lavish cruise ships to ever ply the seas. It now permanently rests here at the portals of the city of Long Beach as a greeting to all those coming and going in this harbor. Although the cruise is only minutes long, the traveler feels transported to another world, far, far from the hectic pace of the mainland. Avalon Harbor welcomes thousands of visitors every year, and as we arrive, this friendly city spreads out before us very much like a town on the coast of the Mediterranean Sea. You can get to Avalon by boat or by regularly scheduled airlines. This unscheduled flight gives the best view of the water, but is only for the most seasoned traveler. An official Catalina greeter welcomes our crew as we get set to bring you the swim portion of the Stroh's U.S. Tri-America Triathlon Championships. In just a moment, stay tuned.
The Stroh's U.S. Tri-America Championships from Catalina Island is being brought to you by Stroh's, fire brewed for better flavor. Stroh's is spoken here. The triathlon racing in this program is from the Jeep Tri-America Triathlon Series. Jeep, the official vehicle of the Tri-America Series.
Yes, Mrs. Ferber, I'll be right over.
What's up?
It's Alex. He's been burying things in Mrs. Ferber's garden again.
Right here.
Alex, a bottle of Stroh's.
Keep digging.
Nice, Alex. A 15-pack.
Keep digging.
With Stroh's and Stroh Light 15 and 30 packs, you get more beer.
How did he get a whole truck down there?
Why don't we ask the driver?
Catalina Flying Boat Seaplane Airlines is the quickest, most convenient way to visit Santa Catalina Island for a holiday or mini vacation. Conveniently scheduled flights every day from the uncrowded Long Beach Airport whisk passengers in less than 15 minutes to this beautiful Pacific Island. Available at Catalina's only full-service resort, the Catalina Canyon Hotel. Call for reservations and information. Area 213-832-9998.
Beautiful Santa Catalina Island, 27 miles off the coast of Southern California, is today's site for the final event on the Jeep Tri-America Series. This is the Stroh's American Race Challenge, the U.S. Triathlon Championships of Santa Catalina. I'm David Stanfield. Joining me is five-time World Triathlon Champion Mark Allen. Up in the helicopter, we've got Larry Huffman. First, Mark, tell us about the course. It's a tough one, isn't it?
It sure is, Dave. The athletes are going to be battling the cold and the water. When they get on their bikes, they're going to have the hills, the gravel, and potholes on the road to deal with. Once they get to the run, it doesn't get any easier. They go uphill and downhill all the way to the finish line.
450 entrants in this event, and we do have some of the best in the world?
We sure do, and when you get the best in the world together, you're guaranteed it's going to be a great race. No one wants to concede the race to the other guy. We're going to see some great head-to-head competition out there.
They all came over for fun, but they've got a challenge ahead of them. Mike Durkin, the 28-year-old from Tucson, Arizona, last year's winner here on Catalina just by a kneecap. Emilio De Soto, the 28-year-old from Encinitas, had to accept second place after a grueling battle with Durkin. Ken Glaw, 24 years old from Westchester, Pennsylvania, a small hamlet just west of Philadelphia. Sue Griesbach, 30 years old, originally from Madison, Wisconsin. She is in second in the Jeep Tri-America Triathlon Series point standings. And there is Scott Tinley, the 30-year-old from Encinitas, California, with his new daughter, Tori, two-time Ironman champion. And Mike Pigg, the 1987 Triathlete of the Year, the 24-year-old sensation from Arcata, California. He is incredible. Canadian Andrew McNaughton, 24 years old, he has a strong possibility of winning this race. There's Julie Harrison, formerly Julie Brenning, in the blue wetsuit. Julie Olson in the black wetsuit. She is first in the Jeep Tri-America point standings for the Jeep Wrangler, but she's got to beat Sue Griesbach. They're lining up for the beginning of the race on the beach here at the edge of Avalon Harbor.
This is Larry Huffman in the Skycam, and we'll be in place here in the air, David. It looks like they're ready to start the race.
And they're off. Larry, this is the start of the Stroh's U.S. Tri-America Triathlon Championships here on Catalina. Montgomery, Richardson, and Fitch into first, second, and third early in the swim.
Montgomery and Richardson pulling away from the rest of the pack, building a lead. At the bottom of the screen, you can see the unique water vehicle called a water streaker that our cameras will be covering the swim with.
And here's a shot from that camera showing Montgomery, Richardson, and Steve Fitch. Besides swimming, the cold water and all that, you've really got to be able to pick your course. You can actually swim off course so easily and lengthen your course and waste a lot of time, so you've got to have a good peripheral vision. Right now, they're looking at that orange mark to the outside. You've got to lift your head. That slows you up.
It does. It's a different technique swimming in the ocean water, swimming in the open ocean versus swimming in a pool. That's why it's good if you can find somebody who's swimming a straight line, get on their feet and follow their bubbles.
Here's Larry coming in on the helicopter as they approach that outside mark. They're about halfway out there. Larry?
Montgomery and Richardson still holding on to number 1 and 2 positions, rounding the marker buoys with the rest of the pros strung out almost in single file, with the leaders turning halfway through the swim, heading back toward the beach.
The second wave goes off as the leaders move around the halfway buoys. Let's take a look back, courtesy of Jeep, at 2 of the top contenders. Durkin and DeSoto at the human race in Newport Beach battled throughout the entire race, matching each other stride for stride. These 2 top athletes would not give an inch. Then, down to the finish line, shoulder to shoulder, Durkin and DeSoto pushed every ounce of energy as they flew to the finish line, with Durkin winning by a mere 1/1000th of a second. Back to the swim here at the Stroh's U.S. Tri-America Triathlon Championships. Our underwater cameraman Dan Walsh catches the leaders going by, first from under the water, then a swimmer's eye view of the rest of the pack.
Fitch and Richardson are side by side behind Montgomery, still on the lead. They're on the beach with Montgomery slightly in front, then Richardson and Fitch in third. They move toward the transition area where all 3, having worn wetsuits for speed, not warmth, water is 67 degrees. They'll have to spend a few extra seconds getting out of their wetsuits.
That warning sign above the Stroh's banner has little impact today. Montgomery, a surprise, and there's Tony Richardson.
They're both great swimmers. Here comes Steve Fitch from Pennsylvania.
Fitch is having some trouble with his wetsuit. That could cost him a few extra seconds because Montgomery and Richardson are ready to go. We are looking at Tony Richardson right now, a real strong swim. Here comes Andrew McNaughton in, but we are on Richardson and Mark Montgomery, and it is Richardson to his bike first. Montgomery has the fastest transitions in the sport. He's great on the bike, but you can see Andrew McNaughton and Mike Durkin are going to be chasing him as soon as they can get on their biking stuff. This is a critical part of a race this short, the transition. If you lose time here, you can lose the entire race. Fitch is out there, and there's 4th place. Scott Tinley just about hits the policeman. McNaughton is out 5th, followed by Bill Leach. There's Bill Leach. He is in 6th position. And last year's winner, Michael Durkin, your leader in the Jeep Tri-America Series point standings, he moves out in 7th position. But Mike Pigg, here comes Pigg, and Pigg to the inside. No problem getting into his shoes there, and Pigg moves into 7th. The leaders are out on Pebbly Beach Road now, and Richardson has moved up and just past Mark Montgomery. Shannon Delaney from Del Mar, California, 4th out of the water. Another excellent transition for her. What a professional. You can see she's no rookie. as her no-panic moves and deliberate speed here gives her the lead in the women's division of the Stroh's Catalina Triathlon, the last race in the Jeep Tri-America 12-race National Series. Julie Harrison, formerly Julie Brenning, originally from Kirkland, Washington, now a resident of Malibu, California, is out in second position. Julie Olson in third, moving very slowly, very deliberately, removing her wetsuit, putting on her shoes. Olson has come to Catalina all the way from St. Paul, Minnesota. And this is Shannon Delaney through the streets of Avalon in first. Shannon is a superb athlete and is in strong position right now to win this if she can hold on. Here's Sue Griesbach in second in the Jeep Tri-America Point Series standings. She wants the Jeep Wrangler. She's going to have to win this race. And she's got to do it on the bike course. She's having a wetsuit problem, though, and that's going to cost her time. Julie Olson just about ready to get on the bike, putting on her helmet. Now she's set to go. Julie Olson has raced in every one of the 12 Jeep Tri-America races. Julie's a determined athlete and is favored to win or place well here today. And Andrew McNaughton, excellent bicyclist. Andrew shows the stuff that he's made here by passing Tony Richardson as we pick up the men and moving into first position along Pebbly Beach Road. Here's the battle for fourth position between last year's second-place winner Emilio De Soto and Mike Pigg, rated as one of the top 5 triathletes in the world today. Mike blows by De Soto, here to capture fourth position.
Andrew McNaughton and Mark Montgomery separated first and second now by only a few bike lengths.
Mike Pigg holds on to fourth. De Soto and Durkin jockeying for fifth. Durkin pulling slightly ahead.
David, it's McNaughton and Montgomery first and second, with Richardson and Pigg in third and fourth.
Durkin widening the distance between him and De Soto is in the hunt for Pigg. Durkin wants a new Jeep and this prestigious win around the 180-degree turn. Up the hill, McNaughton leads Montgomery, hard charging to make a pass. No drafting here as they push every ounce of energy to get up the hill and hang on to their position.
Heading up toward Wrigley Terrace, it's McNaughton pulling slightly out in front as they power up this steep hill.
Shannon Delaney is all alone out in front, but she's pushing hard because she knows the caliber of the women behind her, any one of them with the capacity to steal the lead away. In sixth position, Ken Glaw moving up on the front runners. He looks determined. He's a member of the Foxcatcher team sponsored by John DuPont, and he trains at the foot of the Appalachian Mountains. Durkin has passed Mike Pigg, who's not used to these incredibly steep hills like Durkin is. Durkin is last year's winner. Durkin needs to build his lead here on the hills to hold Pigg off for the rest of the bike race. Pigg looks tired, but he has passed Mark Montgomery, another Catalina race veteran. Pigg knows if he can hold on to this uphill, he can catch Durkin and the others on the downhill. Andrew McNaughton has had a great year with a sweep of the 3 prestigious Los Angeles Triathlon Championship Series. He's holding on to the lead here and pumping up the hill. Just turning the 180-degree turn, Shannon Delaney, front runner in the women's division, is laboring up the hill with Julie Harrison moving up. McNaughton hanging on to first while Scott Tinley has made a charge on the pack and has passed all but Andy for second spot. Durkin in third, Pigg in fourth. They struggle up the hill to the top of Wrigley Terrace. It will be a bike handler's race from here on down.
Andrew McNaughton has widened his lead, David, and is all alone out in front position.
Shannon Delaney out in front with Julie Harrison moving up slightly. Let's break away for just a moment. We'll be right back to the championship triathlon racing here on Catalina Island right after this brief message.
I'll get it, Alex.
Mel's Market. Here's your order.
What order?
Side of beef.
I didn't order.
Here's your delivery, sir.
What delivery?
Your Stroh's 30 packs.
Stroh's. Alex? Nah.
Stroh's and Stroh Light. Fire brewed for smooth, consistent taste. And with 30 packs, you get more beer.
Pardon, Pierre's Pet Shop. Here's your poodle. Oh.
Alex.
Catalina Flying Boat Seaplane Airlines is the quickest, most convenient way to visit Santa Catalina Island for a holiday or mini vacation. Conveniently scheduled flights every day from the uncrowded Long Beach Airport whisk passengers in less than 15 minutes to this beautiful Pacific island, only a few miles away from the mainland, but far, far away from the mainstream. Special fly and stay packages are available at Catalina's only full-service resort, the Catalina Canyon Hotel. Call for reservations and information. Area 213-832-9998. Catalina Flying Boat Seaplane Airlines.
Welcome back. We're going to take a break now from the commercials to bring you racing from the Stroh's U.S. Tri-America Triathlon Championships on Catalina Island.
Here's Andy McNaughton as he rounds the turn at Wrigley Terrace, marking the end of the uphill and the beginning of the steep descent into town. Still in first, but not by much. It's not so much the short distance between first and second, but the threat of who is behind. It is Scott Tinley, world champion, two-time world champion of the Ironman, and Durkin, last year's winner. They are bearing down on McNaughton. Here's Julie Harrison, formerly Brennan. She moves up and breezes by Shannon Delaney. Shannon is obviously tiring, and Julie is still looking very fresh, very powerful as she captures first position here on Catalina.
McNaughton is on the downhill, and that is where his skills at high-speed downhill bike handling will count. And here's what McNaughton said before the race.
Yeah, it looks pretty scary, to tell you the truth. There's a lot of turns on some pretty steep descents. It's going to be nerve-wracking, to say the least.
There's Durkin right behind Tinley moving down the hill. Remember, he's a veteran of this race from last year. Tinley and Andy aren't.
And neither is Julie Harrison, but she's still out in front of the women's race. Back up at Wrigley Terrace, approaching the crest of the hill. Shannon Delaney is now out of sight, but still in second. Here's the second place battle between Scott Tinley and Mike Durkin, who's moved up.
Andrew McNaughton is still in the lead ahead of the second place, Scott Tinley. Now, he's headed up Monument Drive, which is uphill, but not as steep as the Wrigley Hill.
Here's a great shot of Scott Tinley just out in front of Mike Durkin, who seems to be holding back just outside the drafting position, waiting to make a move. Durkin knows this course, but Tinley, he's a long course runner, a short course runner. He is an incredible athlete, the 1986 European World Triathlon Champion. And Julie Harrison drops a couple of gears after that thrilling downhill. She looks back to see if Shannon Delaney is in sight, and she picks up the pace.
Here's Tinley and Durkin, second and third place, separated by about a bike length. And as we zoom out, you can see the distance between them, and McNaughton is only about 50 yards. Durkin, with a solid white rear wheel, is pushing Tinley hard. Tinley, at 31 years old, called the old man of triathlon racing, doesn't look too old here.
Emilio De Soto passing the tennis courts, now in fifth position. Emilio fell off his bike, badly injuring his leg after the downhill last year, but still finished second. And Mike Pig straining hard, won the Memphis in May, the Wilkes-Barre Triathlons, plus the USTS Championship, and he wants to repeat here.
This race is, say, only a fraction as long as the Ironman, but it's just as hard in other ways, in that the competition is so fierce at this level. You can't go out there and wear your opponents down. Your opponents are going to be there constantly.
And there goes Scott Tinley moving up on the leader. Mark Allen, tell us about Scott Tinley in this race for the first time.
He's the old man of the sport, 31 years old. He's teaching these young kids a lesson in pain today. He was not too far behind on the swim. He caught him fast on the bike. It's him, McNaughton, and Mike Durkin, last year's leader. All three of them have broken away at this point. They put a lot of time on Mike Pig, and behind him, Emilio De Soto. It's going to be interesting to see if those guys can catch those top three on the second time around this bike course.
Julie Harrison starting to show some strain, but still moving up quickly up Monument Hill to the turnaround. The riders will do 2 complete laps of the bike course before they begin their run. There's Julie Olson, very shy and retiring when you talk to her, but a hard charger and a force to reckon with in a triathlon race. She's passed Shannon for second and has her sights set on first.
The bike course loops twice over the same route, and this is the second beginning as McNaughton tires. Tinley and Durkin go to war and move in for the kill, passing Andy. And then Durkin comes out the ultimate victor with first place as the prize.
And Mike Durkin, by way of Tucson, Arizona, he leads again this year, just like last year, but with one big difference. Who's behind him? Can he hold off the top triathletes in the world? Scott Tinley and Mike Pig and the others. And there goes Durkin. And it's the same for Julie Olson, winner of the world's toughest triathlon in South Lake Tahoe. If she can just hold on, hold out against the top pros that are behind her, and overtake the one in front of her.
Back in the trees, out of sight, Tinley in blue and white helmet pulled into first, with Durkin now in second, and Andy in the yellow helmet running in third spot.
Closing the gap between her and Julie Olson as she stands on the pedals and pumps hard up this hill. This is Julie Olson. She's making her way up this hill now, passing lapped male triathletes just beginning the bike portion. Back to the leaders. It is Andy, Tinley, and Durkin bunched up. It's Andrew McNaughton taking over the lead again, and Durkin is now in third behind Tinley. At about this point in last year's race, the riders were different, but Durkin was in third. Let's take a look. At the 180-degree turn off the fast Pebbly Beach straightaway, it was Emilio De Soto in first, Mark Montgomery in second, and Mike Durkin in third. The others are lapped riders. Up the hill, Durkin trailed the leaders De Soto and Montgomery, but by only a few feet as the three approached Wrigley Terrace. Often, an athlete will hold off making a charge until late in the race when the other racers have tired and cannot effectively keep up a quickening pace. It looks like that may have been Durkin's strategy here last year, since he eventually won the race. Could that be the same strategy he's using here?
David, it could very well be that Durkin is hanging back, conserving energy, waiting for the right time to attack the leaders. He pedals to maintain position, then rests. Back after the surge back on the straightaway, we all thought he'd do better on the hills.
Yes, Larry, everyone did, except Tinley. The race was described as the Nice of California because of its hills. Scott's a veteran of many Nice races, an Ironman regular, as well as hundreds of other tough triathlons, and he had a different opinion about the prospects for him today.
I think that's a pretty good description, the Nice of California, because it's hilly, it's technical, it's a bit dangerous, and looks like a lot of fun.
And Scott is having fun because he just recaptured first place, having passed a tired, struggling Andrew McNaughton and leaving Durkin pushing with all his might to hold on to third.
They're 1, 2, 3. Tinley, McNaughton, Durkin separated by about 1 bike length each.
Further down the grade, Julie Harrison still leads the women's division as she powers up the hill. There's a male athlete walking his bike up this steep incline, but Julie moves confidently with obvious effort on what has been rated the toughest course this length anywhere.
Just perfect.
6-year pro Scott Tinley has now increased the distance between himself and McNaughton and Durkin. This road is a slight incline up to the turnaround and back down. It's a straight, fast downhill.
Back in second and third, Andrew McNaughton and Mike Durkin are first side by side. Then McNaughton pulls into second place, warding off Durkin's charge to regain that position. McNaughton is steadily moving away from Durkin. It looks like he's begun a charge on Tinley, David.
It sure does, Larry. Andrew is moving up fast, and he's about to pull off a pass on Scott Tinley. Here he comes. He gets by now. Can he make it stick? Andrew McNaughton in the lead with the yellow helmet. Tinley to the outside. Tinley to the inside, a little mountain biking. And now shoulder to shoulder, it's Tinley and McNaughton heading down the hill.
David McNaughton has taken the lead, but by just a few feet as they both put their heads down to gain maximum speed on this downhill. Durkin is back about 100 yards.
At the bottom of Monument Road, Julie Harrison moves past other triathletes still on their very first loop. And Julie Olson, now about a full minute down behind Julie Harrison, shifts gears to begin up the hill to the turnaround to the top of Monument Road. Julie Olson from St. Paul, Minnesota, 27 years old, is an exceptional athlete who has been racing and placing in the top positions at the Jeep Tri-America Triathlon Series, like here at the world's largest triathlon in Chicago, where she placed 5th. In the toughest triathlon of them all, and most agree it is tougher than the famed Hawaiian Ironman, is the world's toughest at South Lake Tahoe. Julie Olson pulled out in front on the bike course. Then, after the most grueling run in the sport, Julie was still in first here at the Angora Ridge Aid Station, some 8,000 feet above sea level. After swimming 2 miles, 110 miles of high-altitude biking, and a true endurance run of 18 miles, Julie placed first at the world's toughest triathlon. At the Newport Beach Human Race, Julie faced off with Julie Brenning Harrison in a race-long battle which saw both Julies pass the lead back and forth, with Julie Olson the ultimate victor. Julie Olson is one of the sport's rising stars. And there is Julie Harrison, second in the World Sprint Triathlon Championships held in Perth, Australia early this year. She is a picture of determination. And just before the turnaround, Julie Olson pedals up as Harrison moves swiftly down the opposite direction. Olson methodically moves to the top of Monument Drive. From here, it will be a high-speed downhill ride into Avalon, where the transition will take them from the bike to the run. And here comes the Jeep Wrangler Pace vehicle as Larry gets the helicopter into position to begin coverage of the run in the hills north of Avalon after the transition. Mark, it looks like this guy did not survive the bike course here in Catalina.
He got a little excited on some of those turns. He went down. He's bummed. He was training all year for this event. Now look at him.
They've got him immortalized. They've postered him here along the front of the oceanfront in Catalina. We'll be right back with more of the Tri-America Series, the Santa Catalina Triathlon Championships. Don't go away.
Okay. Alex will now do his famous dog impersonations. Grab a Stroh light and relax. Ready, Alex? All right, who's this?
Rin Tin Tin.
That great.
Look at this. Look at this. Tramp, my 3 sons.
Right. This is my favorite.
Benji.
Oh, I don't know how he does it.
It's amazing.
Stroh Light, fire brewed for smooth, consistent taste.
No, here he comes. Here he comes. Who's that supposed to be?
Beats me.
Get on your helmet, sports fans. That's right, get on your helmet. Sports Fans Furniture presents the perfect way to really get into your favorite team. This totally unique furniture makes the perfect sports statement and is as functional as it is handsome. Quality furniture by Sports Fans is available with official colors and emblems of all NFL teams, soccer, basketball, and in other unique designs for golfers, pool players, motocross riders, and others. Sold at Better Sporting Goods and other stores. Call 213-832-9998 for information and the location nearest you.
For those of you who just tuned in, this is the Stroh's U.S. Tri-America Triathlon Championships from Catalina Island.
All right, that's what I thought. Look at that, what a transition. What a
We've got Tinley, McNaughton, and Durkin. McNaughton's the first out. He's probably the weakest of the runners, weakest runner of the 3. There goes Durkin, and behind him, Tinley, probably the best runner of the 3. It's going to be a horse race at the finish. 2 miles uphill, 2 miles worth of downhill. Those guys are going to beat their legs up pretty good.
Mark, I don't know what happened, but DeSoto and Pig entered the transition from the wrong street. DeSoto gets out fourth, ready to go in just a few seconds. The Cuban Flash is on his way. And here is Mike Pig getting ready to run. He apparently followed DeSoto down the street they used last year to get into the transition. Pig is out in 5th. The bike run transition, boy, was that hectic. Our 3 leaders came in. It was Tinley, Durkin, and Andrew McNaughton. And we didn't see behind us, but 2 riders came in behind, and what they did is they actually came down the wrong street, which is the same distance, but they came through the finish line and came up behind us. Who are those guys?
That was Mike Pig and Emilio DeSoto. They were behind that lead pack. Perhaps the marshals who were out there didn't see them coming. They came down the wrong street. As you said, they all went the same distance. That's one of those things that can happen in a triathlon.
We did mention that to Bill Fulton, where he mentioned that to us. And he says, yeah, they came down the wrong way, but more than likely they won't be disqualified. The same distance, probably an error on somebody's part up the street. They were traveling at such speed.
And if anything, it will hurt them because they probably know they went the wrong direction now, and they're wondering, am I going to be disqualified? Is this effort going to be worth anything?
Lots of effort going on right now as they head up the hill. Let's go to the helicopter and Larry Huffman.
As the leaders head out of town, going up the steep hill to the north, David, looking at the town from up here, I'm reminded of Puerto Vallarta, or a Mediterranean seaside village.
And I'll bet Sue Griesbach wishes she was vacationing in some seaside village, even here in Avalon, instead of pounding those pedals, trying to improve her position from 3rd to beat Julie Olson and win the Jeep Wrangler. She's headed down toward the town, following the front-running Julie's. Julie Olson, 2nd, sails through Avalon onto the transition area.
Out of the transition, it was McNaughton, Durkin, and Tinley. Now it's Durkin, Tinley, and McNaughton pounding the pavement up the hill out of town.
What a race. Durkin is starting to show some signs of strain, and now here comes Tinley. Scott Tinley, the 6-year pro, two-time Ironman champion, the European Ironman champion. He moves into the lead. Scott Tinley from Encinitas, California. And Mike Durkin, he had some comments before the race on what he thought it would take to win this.
One thing that is really scary about sprint races is that at the end, a lot of times it comes down to a sprint. And I've had this happen to me at this race last year, and then just about a month ago at the human race in Newport Beach, same thing, which was only even worse, where I think Emilio De Soto and I were about a full 2 inches apart at the finish line. And that is really something scary to think about when a race could come down to that 10-second span at the very end where it just boils down to who wants it the most or something. I don't know. You have to just try and find every ounce of whatever it takes to get across that line first.
And the spectators welcome Julie Harrison as she sails into the transition, now only about 12 seconds ahead of Julie Olson. The bike run transition is obviously quicker than the swim bike transition because there are no wetsuits to get out of, and the quick lace running shoes go on more quickly. Here's Julie Olson coming in as Harrison is about ready to run off. Harrison, after about a 15-second transition, moves out, but not much ahead of Julie Olson, who is intent on capturing first place and a new car. And in third place, now living in Fullerton, California, Susan Griesbach, she heads out trying to catch the two Julies. Tinley, Durkin, and McNaughton, they are freight training it. They are stuck together in a single file line like they're marching in a parade.
From up here, you can see they're not as close as it seems from that front shot, but certainly they're both close enough to be within striking distance of first.
Speaking of close, Julie Olson has really moved up on Julie Harrison now and is only a few seconds behind. This will be a battle to the finish. In the men's division, the front runners have left the residential area of Avalon and are now on the steeper hills. Andrew McNaughton has fallen off the pace, but Michael Durkin is showing that it's not over yet as he gains on Scott Tinley. We'll be right back.
If you've just joined us, we're flying over one of the most scenic towns in the Pacific, Avalon, on the island of Santa Catalina. I'm Larry Huffman, along with David Stanfield and Mark Allen, here bringing you the coverage from the final show in the Stroh's Races Across America television series from the Jeep Tri-America Triathlon Series, which has included racing from Memphis, Cleveland, Chicago, Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania, Newport Beach, Kauai, Cascade Lakes, Oregon, Lake Tahoe, and Los Angeles. This, the Stroh's U.S. Tri-America Triathlon Championships, is the conclusion of that series. We're moving toward the running course in the hills north of Avalon, where Scott Tinley and Mike Durkin are locked in a battle for first, with Andrew McNaughton in third, not far behind.
In the women's division, it is still the two Julies, Julie Harrison and Julie Olson, but Olson is making a move to capture the lead from Harrison. Harrison has held on throughout most of the race, but it now looks like she won't be able to hold off the hard-charging Olson. Scott Tinley is still in front of the men's race, but he looks a little ruffled by Durkin, who just won't give up no matter how fast the pace Tinley sets. And there goes Durkin. Durkin has moved into the lead, and back at 10 or 15 seconds behind is Andrew McNaughton in third. Tinley looks a little winded. He's struggling to keep up. He does not know the course like Michael Durkin.
David will move out and up to show just how hilly and curvy this road is. It runs along this side and around the back side of these hills before it winds back down into Avalon. So you can see they've got some running to do.
The women are just approaching the hills now with Julie Olson in front. Julie Harrison a very close second.
Durkin has widened his lead now just a few feet, but it looks like it's having a demoralizing effect on Tinley. Scott's strides are not as natural or as well-paced as we usually see them when he's in a good, strong position. Scott's running looks labored. It looks forced. While on the other hand, Durkin looks very, very strong. He looks fresh and ready to take on the rest of the course. Tinley's arms seem to be flailing a bit. Maybe a sign the world champion underestimated Durkin and this tough course.
Julie Harrison is falling back. She looks very tired as Julie Olson's measured strides take her closer to the finish and now keep her solidly in first place. It was near this point in last year's race that a lapse in Durkin's concentration, a brief physical letting down, nearly cost him the race, as Emilio De Soto had charged and won the battle for first after trailing through most of the run.
So Durkin, remembering last year, called on his inner strength to pull away and put some distance between him and Tinley.
Durkin is concentrating on one thing, winning. He will not let Scott Tinley, this world champion, do to him here what De Soto had done last year. His resolve was solid as the pavement moving quickly under him, with more and more of it separating him and Tinley. Durkin is ready to ward off any threat. He now can see the victory. Julie Olson, her face shows the determination which she knows will bring her victory if she can just push as hard as she's done the last few miles.
Tinley seems not to be losing ground now. He's about 50 yards back, and Durkin is not moving any further ahead.
Durkin is sure-footed, fast-paced. Now compare his pace with Tinley's. Scott's strides look labored and uneven. He may be starting to fold, and if so, the race for him is lost. There goes Durkin. McNaughton, now about 45 seconds back, looks tired. He wants to finish the race and finish in the top three. It was his goal to win the toughest sprint triathlon.
Tinley is widening his strides. He's moving very quickly down the hill, but not quickly enough. Durkin is flying down, leaving Tinley further and further behind with every step. Durkin is like a man possessed with that fire in his eyes. He seems unstoppable at this point.
Durkin cannot be stopped. He will only accept victory. This is his course, his race. Durkin's face shows he is ready for as many miles or hills as may stand between him and victory. Last year, this man, Emilio De Soto, was matching Durkin stride for stride. Now he's a distant fourth, unaware that Durkin is flying to victory again. Durkin comes to an aid station. He yells for water to cool and soothe the fire. He pushes on. But not before a quick check over his shoulder to check for Tinley and Mike Pig. Pig power, only enough to put him in fifth position at this time. Kenny Glaw, he is in sixth, and he's looking to move up a notch as he pursues the USTS champion, Mike Pig, who found the Catalina course more than he expected.
And here is Durkin. That victory is growing closer with each step, and Mike makes each step longer. He even passes our camera vehicle.
The finish line down by the harbor is now in sight. He gulps in great quantities of air to replace the energy flowing from his body as he strides out and down. Our camera motorcycle cannot safely match his increasing speed. Either Julie Olson has become tired or Julie Harrison has pulled on a deep energy reserve, or a combination of the both. Harrison has caught up to Olson. Olson looks worried. And here comes Harrison. Harrison wants to pass, and she does. Julie Harrison takes over first. And Shannon Delaney, first female out of the water, lost a little time in that first transition, then fell off the pace, is now running in 4th position and is cramping up.
Tiny bit faster.
Sue Griesbach, who also lost a lot of time in the swim bike transition getting out of her wetsuit, now has little chance of winning the Jeep Wrangler unless Julie Olson falls back behind her. But she plows on in hopes of catching Julie. And Michael Durkin, still widening his lead over Scott Tinley, passes the Catalina Canyon Hotel, the race headquarters. It was a different story here last year. Let's take a look. This is about the same place on the run course at last year's race where DeSoto, who had been more than 100 yards back, moved up on Durkin, paced him, then passed him, moving ahead to gain not only distance, but also psychological advantage by showing Durkin he could pass. It can be much harder for that reason to catch up than to stay ahead. Durkin continued to maintain speed and stay with DeSoto, but he could not grasp that extra ounce of energy he needed to pass DeSoto. He knew it would require practically superhuman strength to overtake DeSoto because Emilio was now visualizing that victory. It is Durkin in the black, DeSoto, number 2, red, white, and gray. And there goes Durkin. It is Michael Durkin, 26 years old, leaving the 25-year-old Emilio DeSoto does not have the kick. Durkin is sprinting away, the final 100 yards here.
And there's the distance between them. Durkin in front, DeSoto in second.
Downtown Avalon, Santa Catalina Island. Here comes Michael Durkin, your winner.
Sorry, Alex. You know the rules, buddy. Let me have a Stroh's, Pat. About my monthly tab. Seems really high.
No, that's right.
Looks high to me.
Maybe you shouldn't let your buddy use it.
My buddy.
Brown hair, wears it long.
Is he short?
Yeah, talks funny, too.
Wolf?
Says that a lot.
Stroh's, fire brewed for smooth, consistent taste.
Eats the peanuts right out of the bowl, too.
This is Santa Catalina, Pacific Mini Vacation Island. Just minutes by Catalina Flying Boat or about an hour by Fun Cruise Boat. It's easy to get to but hard to leave because of its peace and beauty. The newly rebuilt Catalina Canyon Resort is the only full-service hotel on Catalina with beautiful rooms, restaurant, bar, pool, jacuzzi, sauna, everything you'll need for a sneak-away holiday from the mainland. Call the Catalina Canyon Hotel today for reservations and information about special packages. 800-253-9361. Catalina Flying Boat Seaplane Airlines is the quickest, most convenient way to visit Santa Catalina Island for a holiday or mini vacation. Conveniently scheduled flights every day from the uncrowded Long Beach Airport whisk passengers in less than 15 minutes to this beautiful Pacific island, only a few miles away from the mainland, but far, far away from the mainstream. Special fly and stay packages are available at Catalina's only full-service resort, the Catalina Canyon Hotel. Call for reservations and information. Area 213-832-9998. Catalina Flying Boat Seaplane Airlines.
Santa Catalina Island, just the name conjures up romantic images of the past. This Pacific island, about 25 miles off the coast of Southern California, is reached easily via a comfortable hour cruise across the calm Catalina Channel or by a swift trip aboard the Catalina flying boats for major Los Angeles airports. With large hotels such as the Catalina Canyon Resort Hotel, Santa Catalina Island now has the true ambience of a vacation getaway, with many activities for those who like active holidays, or travelers can simply relax and enjoy being out of the mainstream of mainland life. The island, which was considered a day tripper destination affording young tourists a day of fun away from the city, now offers families and couples a hideaway for a mini vacation in a Pacific Island setting, only minutes away from home, but with a far, far away feeling. Santa Catalina Island, nature's gift to the Southern California coast, is exceptionally easy to get to, but because of its friendly people and natural beauty, it's hard to leave.
Back to the Stroh's U.S. Tri-America Triathlon Championships.
In the women's division, the two front-running Julies are separated by only about 10 yards. And it looks like Olsen is closing the gap as they move past the bell tower into town.
Larry Julie Olsen, wearing white, is moving up and slides in next to Julie Harrison, matching her stride for stride on this steep uphill. Then she passes her and pulls out in front one more time.
Not showing any signs of slowing, Michael Durkin must be visualizing driving that Jeep Wrangler in the hills around his home in Tucson, Arizona, as he flies down the hill from the Catalina Canyon Hotel toward the finish.
28-year-old Mike Durkin is on his way to his second victory here, and the Catalina sports fans show their approval. Mike Durkin, incredible.
Mike Durkin out in the lead by at least 400, 800 yards of the next guy. He's only got 100 yards to go to the finish, and he'll be the winner of this whole series.
Two-time winner Mike Durkin, here he comes, and he will win a brand new Jeep, the prize money.
Incredible run. He out-sprinted Scott Tinley, pulled away from him. He's got at least a minute-and-a-half lead before Tinley comes in here.
And Scott Tinley, two-time world Ironman champion, can only muster a second here on the toughest sprint triathlon course. 104.29 for Mike Durkin. Here comes the old man.
The old man, Scott Tinley, he's probably the toughest guy to pull away from in the run. Mike Durkin did it today at the Stroh Tri-America Series.
Incredible run. ST comes across. And wearing white, Julie Olsen from St. Paul, Minnesota, continues to lead Julie Brenning. What a great battle. And here's Emilio De Soto, big smile. He's happy about his third place finish. He would like to have gone for the win, but he's got to settle for third behind Tinley and Durkin. Here's Andrew McNaughton, the Canadian. Outstanding run, being passed by De Soto in the last few feet. Here comes Kenny Glaw. Kenny Glaw comes in fifth. And Mike Pig, Pig Power, musters in a sixth place finish. Back out on the course, the women's battle rages on. Julie Brenning Harrison, the 3-year pro, the 26-year-old living in Malibu, California, is in second back there in the red, leading this race right now. Heading in the downhill past the Catalina Canyon Hotel is Julie Olsen. She's a 27-year-old from St. Paul, Minnesota. She is leading this race and on her way to victory, it looks like. An incredible race for Michael Durkin from Tucson, Arizona, and you're glad you came over all the way from Arizona. This is a little bit different than racing in Arizona heat. Lots of ups and downs. Sea level, we call it. But congratulations on a great race.
Well, thank you.
Okay, was it that easy?
No, it was really hard. I mean, there was a great field here, and we were going pretty hard out there.
Yeah, I know. One person that knows you're going real hard was Mark Allen. Mark?
At one point, you and Scott Tinley were running neck and neck on the run. I know that in a short race like this, a little more than an hour long, you're going as hard as you can go. At that point, Tinley pulls away. Did you think he had the race then?
I wasn't really sure. I thought there was a good chance that he did because I know what a strong runner he is, and he just went by me like I was standing still. I was just hoping that he couldn't maintain it, and I got lucky. He couldn't.
What was the winning difference today?
I think that I just got him on that uphill. I paced myself probably a little bit better, and I think a lot of it was the fact that I knew where the top of that hill was, having done the course before, and he knew where it was, but not quite as well as I did.
Congratulations.
Thanks.
Mike Durkin winning the series, winning the car, and winning the Santa Catalina finale. The women's race is still in progress. It is Julie Brenning Harrison in second, trying to catch this woman, Julie Olsen. And Olsen is flying down the hill past the Palms restaurant, now approaching the flat. And a couple of short city blocks to the finish line. A slight left, then a slight right. Onto the flats now. Here she comes. She can see the finish from here. And Julie Brenning Harrison is in second spot and now is being pressured by Susan Griesbach. Griesbach is in third and moving up on Harrison. And there is your leader, Julie Olsen. The points leaders coming into this race were Mike Durkin and Julie Olsen. Durkin has already won his car. Julie Olsen is in the lead, and she has got the second car wrapped up if she can hang on.
We've got a 1-2-3 finish here. Julie Olsen, Julie Harrison, and right behind her, Sue Griesbach. Incredible. They've all closed the gap. Looks like Julie Olsen's going to walk away with it today, though.
Julie Olsen, the winner. Here comes Julie Harrison. Harrison 6 seconds behind Olsen, and Sue Griesbach comes in 1 second behind Julie Harrison. Griesbach gets third place. An outstanding finish for the top 3 female competitors. Congratulations, 2 times you won a brand new Jeep, you won the series, and you won today's race. Was it difficult?
Oh, it was a lot more difficult than I had expected, both in terms of the course being tough and the competition was real tight between the top 3 women.
Let's start at the beginning. How was your swim?
My swim was pretty good after the first couple hundred yards. It was a little congested at the beginning, but I held on pretty close to Julie at the end of the swim. I at least kept her within sight, which was my goal. And
a good transition.
I had a pretty good transition. I kept her inside on the bike for a while, but she did open up a gap on the first loop on the bike. She must have been going down those hills really fast, and I was holding back quite a bit. I'm not real good at handling the bike on those sharp corners, and I think I caught up to her a little bit more on the second loop of the bike, and then I was like 15 seconds behind her going into the run.
Going into the run, out of the transition, a little miscue, you kind of swerved left and missed the course there. No big deal, though?
That was no big deal, really. I lost maybe 2 or 3 seconds. But as it turned out, the race was about that close. I guess at the beginning, though, I caught her on the run pretty quick within the first maybe 400 or 500 yards. And opened up a gap on her, but she surprised me, came back, and she passed me and opened up a gap. And then I caught her again and stayed together and kind of went back and forth a little bit. And I just poured it on the last downhill stretch and gave it all I had.
Did you know they were right behind you?
I knew both of them were right behind me, and I couldn't let up one bit.
Congratulations, outstanding victory.
Thanks.
And the results of the Stroh's U.S. Tri-America Triathlon Championships. Overall men, placing first, Michael Durkin with a time of 1 hour, 4 minutes, 29 seconds, followed by Scott Tinley, Andrew McNaughton, Ken Blaw, Steve Fitch, and Tony Richardson. Disqualified for deviating off the bicycle course, Emilio De Soto would have placed third, and Mike Pigg would have placed sixth. Result in the women's division, winning Julie Olson with a time of 1 hour, 16 minutes, and 33 seconds, followed by Julie Harrison and Susan Griesbach in third. Dan Galenecki, the head of Jeep Sales Promotion, he's the manager, is flanked by our 2 big winners today, Julie Olson and Mike Durkin, the honors.
Julie, congratulations on a fantastic race. I'd like to present the keys to a new 88 Jeep Wrangler to you. Mike, congratulations on a well-raced, good race. Thank you very much. Here are the keys.
Good job. Congratulations to the big winners. A great series for Julie Olson and Mike Durkin.
Yes, Mrs. Ferber, I'll be right over.
What's up?
It's Alex. He's been burying things in Mrs. Ferber's garden again.
Right here.
Alex, a bottle of Stroh's.
Keep digging.
Nice, Alex. 15-pack.
Keep digging.
With Stroh's and Stroh Light 15 and 30 packs, you get more beer.
How did he get a whole truck down there?
Why don't we ask the driver?